Over the years, Tyler the Creator has been fighting for respect. From being rejected by radio stations, award ceremonies, and even being banned by an entire country, to getting ignored by some of the biggest artists in the game, it's taken well over a decade for Tyler to finally get the recognition he deserves. It's your boy Louaista, and before I can explain how the world finally started treating Tyler like a superstar, we gotta talk about how both the pop and hip-hop worlds treated him in the past.
I'm hungry for greatness. When I die, I want people to cry and make posters, and the nation is like, what the we just lost a hero. That's what I'm hungry for. I'm hungry for VMAs and Grammys. That's my main goal. You know? This underground bullshit.
This was Tyler the Creator way back in 2011. Just 2 years after dropping his debut mixtape Bastard, the rebellious artist from Hawthorne, California already had dreams of not only acceptance, but greatness. Sadly, he would need to wait a long time to get either. Despite proving to the world that he could captivate an entire generation of kids when Odd Future came out the gate, most of the music industry tried to keep their distance from Tyler. To him, this was the most frustrating thing imaginable, and he delved into how much it enraged him during an interview with Billboard from 2013. "I've got so many beats and songs, but no one's giving me a chance yet. I want to take Justin Bieber for a month and just lock him up in a cage where we sit and make music. He's one of the most successful people in the world, but his music could be so much tighter." When Tyler gazed out into the mainstream landscape, he saw all the ways that he could improve it. But as you'll see later in this video, everyone from Justin Bieber to Nicki Minaj weren't really on the same page. For Tyler, the problem was that most of the mainstream figures he contacted from about 2013 onwards just completely wrote off his vision. This was made clear in a tweet he posted way back in October of 2013 where he wrote, "I made a bet with will.i.am for $1 million that I'll be making money 10 years from now doing what I love, and not what makes the most." He said, "Then you make a decision on what to do to survive." No, that's not how it is for everyone. I'm not gonna make music I hate. Now, let's set the record straight. will.i.am definitely got it wrong here. And if I were Tyler the Creator, I'd be knocking on his door asking to cash in on that bet by now. See, Tyler was kind of stuck in a weird spot for a long time. Radio stations weren't playing his stuff, and he got this label as an edgy rapper who only connected with kids in the suburbs, not the ones in the streets. Basically, he didn't quite fit into any box that the industry tried to put him in. Now, a lot of rappers in Tyler's shoes would probably feel the pressure and try to switch up their style to fit what the industry wants. But Tyler instead opted to staying true to himself instead of molding into what others expected. He would double down on being this weirdo that he was known to be.
Not me, nigga, cause I got the heat, nigga. If you got a motherfucking problem, nigga, I will motherfucking lay the down like lyrics on a beat, nigga. Get your ass beat, nigga.
He kept his unique vibe, his own brand of humor, and he wasn't afraid to call out the hip-hop world stereotypes, especially when he had the spotlight on him. So he really took the road less traveled. And as you'll see later in this video, it made all the difference. When Odd Future were initially trying to create buzz, Tyler attempted to get them exposure on the influential rap blogs that were around in that era. Two of them that refused to put them on were Two Dope Boys and Nah Right. At this point in time, getting a cosign from one of these blogs was the equivalent to getting a viral song on TikTok or securing a spot on Spotify's Rap Caviar playlist. So you would think an internet savvy group like Odd Future would be a perfect fit, right? Well, not necessarily. In fact, they would never give them the time of day. To make matters worse, they would actively shade the crew, such as this blog post from 2010 where they referred to Casey Veggies as a loser. Obviously, neither Tyler or Odd Future's loyal fans were pleased about it. When these blog posts turned their backs on Tyler, it really lit a fire under him. It wasn't just a personal blow, but it would set the stage for how the whole industry was going to treat him. These blogs basically told the world, hey, this guy's music isn't worth your time, and that message spread. So Tyler wasn't just mad at the blogs, he was frustrated with an entire industry that couldn't see his true potential. That feeling of being underestimated became a huge driving force for him, pushing him to prove everybody wrong. From the jump, he didn't take it lying down and used the opening of his Bastard tape to take aim at them.
Yo, Two Dope Boys and All Right and any other nigga ass blog that can put a 18-year-old making his own beats, covers, videos, and all that shit.
For Tyler, the indifference of these blogs would become fuel that would help him to work even harder on his craft. Because it wasn't just the opinions of blogs that he had to change. Even rappers were throwing shade his way. Take Hopsin, for example. another underground artist at the time who was blowing up. When Tyler's video for Yonkers was going viral and made him a name to watch out for, Hopsin decided it was a good time to take a few jabs at him.
You faggots got me cussing, and the only reason you probably buzzing is cause you slave as an Illuminati puppet. Y'all really are one. beat it, you're gone done.
It was like Tyler was this 17-year-old kid who had just scored a touchdown, and then someone tried to tackle him during his victory lap. So Tyler wasn't just up against blogs in the industry, he also had to prove himself to his fellow artists. But this diss from Hopsin definitely aged like milk, and any hip-hop head knows it. One user wrote, "Looking back, this is hilarious. Who would have thought that this man would be working and producing for top-tier legends, while Hopsin is getting called corny next to Logic?" Except for a few exceptions, there was a long time where no one else in the industry saw the value in what Tyler was doing and viewed him in a similar way as Hopsin. Instead, they focused on the brash button-pushing image that he had at the beginning of his career. And as I'll explain later in this video, this basically created a stigma around him that had been almost impossible to shake. Because of that stigma, his attempts to get artists to trust working with him of any kind of value often ended in rejection. Just look at what happened when Tyler the Creator tried to get Nicki Minaj on I Ain't Got Time for his 2017 album Flower Boy.
Man, on the second verse, Nicki Minaj's voice would be f***ing perfect for this.
Yeah.
We sent it to her. She was like, all right, we'll hear it out, we'll hear it out. Like a month later, it was like she couldn't come up with nothing. And I'm like, damn, this don't evoke nothing.
This is Nicki Minaj we're talking about. A woman who has jumped on a feature with just about anyone that's ever been poppin' for approximately 2 minutes. Pop Smoke, Coi Leray, even Tekashi 6ix9ine. They all got the Nicki cosign within less than a year. But for Tyler, not even 8 years of sold out shows, cultural impact, and consistent album releases that dropped to sales of upwards of 100K was enough for him to be given a chance. Instead, Tyler basically got ghosted as if there was no upside for her. As Tyler told Zane Lowe, he saw it differently. "I'm like Nicki Minaj playing me right now. If Nicki got on that, it would not only bring me to a newer audience, but it would bring her to an audience of people who don't think she's tight. And that's no shade to her." Kanye, who had previously worked with Tyler and Lil Wayne on Smuckers from Cherry Bomb, also passed on the beat. Even if he was trying to be diplomatic about it, it's obvious that not being seen as a viable collaborator cut Tyler deep. Unfortunately, even as Flower Boy made it to number 2 on the charts, he had still run into roadblocks with mainstream artists. At the moment, See You Again from Flower Boy is one of Tyler's biggest ever tracks with over 125 million views. And what's crazy is Tyler the Creator had claimed that this song was originally something he wrote for former One Direction member Zayn, but that he chose to hold onto it cause, quote, "that bitch flaked on studio time twice." Originally recorded in 2017 with his vocals put in as a placeholder, Tyler the Creator's Earthquake was another track that was never intended to be his own. Amazingly, he wanted to give his highest charting song ever to Rihanna, and once again, Justin Bieber, who also rejected the song Glitter from Flower Boy. Or to be more accurate, he didn't even return the call.
I wrote that for Bieber.
Oh, really?
I wanted Justin to have that song. I thought he would be so cool doing that, but didn't ever return the call.
In another interview with GQ, Tyler spoke about how much he struggled with the rejections and how they led to songs becoming his own. "I wanted them to have it, and it didn't work out. And then I asked him to do background vocals, but nothing. I hit up Rihanna's people like, hey, I got this song, I would love for her to sing the hook, I think it'll be big. I just want to write pop songs, honestly. I didn't hear back from them, so I left my reference vocals in." Considering how strong a track like Earthquake is, it really goes to show how people assumed Tyler's work had a ceiling on it. So even when Tyler finally broke through the barriers by scoring a #1 album with 2019's Igor, some people saw it as some kind of injustice. Whether or not he knew it at the time, DJ Khaled, who found himself in a chart battle with Tyler for the Billboard top spot, was about to retreat everything that people had said about the former Odd Future leader for his whole career.
I make albums so people can play it and you actually hear it. You know, driving your car, you hear another car playing it. You know, go to the barbershop, you hear them playing it. You know, turn the radio on and you hear them playing it. It's called great music. It's called albums that you actually hear the songs, not no mysterious shit and you never hear it.
So DJ Khaled wasn't too thrilled when his album Father of Assad took second place to Tyler's Igor. He went on a viral video rant, basically saying Tyler didn't deserve to be in that spot, pointing out how Tyler was too weird, too loud, and too unconventional to mess with someone like Khaled, who had the kind of features list that Tyler could only dream of. And as you will see, this whole feud would become a major turning point for Tyler when it came to him finally getting his due respect. And a lot of it had to do with how different he was from Khaled. You see, Tyler had always been the odd one out. Way back in 2011, he talked about it in an interview saying, "Nobody got my sense of humor. I was a black skater kid. I was such a leader that I just went around by myself." So while Khaled was busy assembling his all-star team, Tyler was marching to the beat of his own drum, and that made all the difference. It wasn't until he met some like-minded individuals in Ladera, California, that he would finally be able to put those leadership skills to use. The result was the now legendary rap collective called Odd Future Wolfgang Killed Them All, or Odd Future for short. If you're watching this, I'm going to assume you're already familiar with the crew and their famous members. People like Earl Sweatshirt, Frank Ocean, and Sid the Kid from the internet, among others. From the outset, OF looked at social and musical norms as something to be destroyed. Their slogan was kill people, burn shit, fuck school. Coupled with their graphic images and occasional use of satanic imagery, all the headlines when these hyperactive rebels came onto the scene was about how controversial they were. And in interviews, it was all people wanted to talk about.
Okay, now what about your lyrics?
What about them?
What are you saying in your lyrics?
Nothing. To piss old white people off like you.
In the early days with Odd Future, the media and the public seemed to only focus on one aspect of Tyler and his crew, how controversial they were. This was the story whether they were getting called out by LGBTQ rights organizations or racking up sales with their unique merchandise. But even as Tyler was riding high on this wave of attention, he started to sense the limitations that came with being pigeonholed. In a 2011 conversation with Interview magazine, he made it clear that he didn't want to be confined to any one category, saying, quote, "I don't like being put into a box. I just make music. You know, when you're put in a box, people have a set mind state of what your music could sound like before they even look into it. So if no one ever heard of me, but I'm hip hop, metal, rock, then they are already gonna have an expectation of what the music will sound like. Then when they go and finally listen to it, it might sound different from what they thought, and they could automatically hate it because they already had expectations." Tyler realized that being labeled could not only limit how people perceived him, but also how they experienced his music. This is something that popular rappers have to deal with too. Just look at how Tyler the Creator hated some of Eminem's later projects when he switched up his style after the release of Relapse in 2009.
So the fans that didn't really like it, you gotta do I want the old M. I want the Marshall Mathers LPM. I want the old M. And I don't know, but it feels like he read that and was like, damn, you know what? Let me go back and try to rehash a moment. And when people go back, that is the grossest thing. Move forward, get what you're into for real.
And if you want to find out about how that beef went down, I'll link it at the end of the video. For Tyler, the real problem was that his early reputation, full of edgy humor and gritty beats, kind of set the stage for how people saw him. Because of that, many people who decided that he wasn't their cup of tea early on missed out on seeing how much he grew as an artist later. They checked out before getting a chance to see him evolve and show off different sides of his talent. In a Reddit post discussing this topic from 2013, one user made it clear this was the case when he wrote, "His entire gimmick is acting like an edgy teenager. You mean to tell me the guy who can't go one song without saying fat or making a rape joke didn't offend anyone? I still wonder why indie hype shit like Odd Future and especially Tyler are relevant in the first place." The problem about the hype that surrounded Odd Future and Tyler was that it came long before they were fully developed as artists. They were still experimenting and sometimes just playing around and having a good time. Take Tyler's song Yonkers as an example. This song became a huge viral hit in 2011 and really helped put him on the map. But what's crazy is that Tyler literally said he made the track in just 8 minutes as a sort of joke to poke fun at New York hip hop.
I was trying to make a New York beat and we was just rapping like we was from New York. That's so nuts because that was actually a joke. I made that beat in literally 8 minutes.
Up until recently, if you said the name Tyler the Creator to someone who's a casual rap fan, Yonkers was probably the first track that had come to their mind. So in some ways, Tyler is to blame for the skewed perception of his artistry. Because if you don't even take everything you put out seriously, how can anyone else? This was kind of the case for Ugly God, who I did a video on recently, who claimed all his music was trash.
You said that you feel your music is trash.
Oh, it's trash, terrible.
So you're saying your own music is trash.
Trash.
This became a problem down the line when he wanted to actually create music with some substance, and Tyler the Creator would constantly downplay his artistry in various interviews as well.
Listen, Taco, Jasper, Tyler the Creator.
April 2nd, if you want to buy a really album with horrible production, it has like no features on it, so it probably won't even spark your interest.
You produced the whole thing, though.
Yeah, that's why it's horrible.
He wouldn't even try when he would do freestyles, which back then was a main way that rappers drew in viewers to showcase their talent.
Y'all got a little nigga started on some G shit. Who that that looks swagged out? That's me.
It didn't help that when he did attempt to take his art to the corporate world, that cloud of controversy followed him. Back in 2013, Tyler directed an ad campaign for Mountain Dew, which featured the character Felicia the Goat. Straight away, the ads were accused of perpetuating racial stereotypes and were immediately pulled from television.
It's me. You should have gave me some more. I'm nasty.
I don't think I can do this.
It's easy. Just point to him.
You better not snitch on a player.
No.
He's wearing the do-rag.
Snitches get stitches, fool.
For the first time, Tyler found that his reputation had gotten in the way of him trying to branch out. Because he had built his career on being juvenile and offensive, that's the only way that the general public could perceive this commercial. For Tyler, this was just typical of what he had been experiencing for his whole career. In a Billboard interview from 2013, Tyler elaborated on the Mountain Dew controversy, claiming it wouldn't change him. You're never gonna understand what you don't understand. The same thing could go with religion or anything. If you don't understand it and you're quick to judge. I've had people come up to me and say at first I didn't like your music because of 666 and the word swag, but they say I actually looked into it and I really get it. I mean, it's not gonna change my art in any way. I just hope that somehow, if it gets bigger or if it disappears tomorrow, that it just opens people's minds. But Tyler was wrong, because as he matured, not only would his art change, but his priorities would too. While he still thought that the chaos that came with Odd Future was a selling point, there had come a point where he had realized that if he ever wanted to be taken seriously, that had to take a back seat. Suffering from poor reviews of 2015's Cherry Bomb, and now almost 10 years into his career, Tyler realized it was time to switch up and allow his real talents to shine through. For starters, he changed his Twitter handle from @fucktyler to Tyler the Creator. I know it's a small thing, but rather than it just being a case of removing a curse word from his username, the decision was more symbolic of where he wanted to be and everything he wanted to leave behind.
As Tyler the Creator 3 years ago, but why?
Yeah.
Why?
My stock just went up because of that name change, and only idiots won't understand that. Dude, you could just Google my name, and the first stuff that comes up is not flowers and pretty stuff.
Okay,
it is some gnarly shit.
Yeah,
so I
but
gotta
you
work
think
my
that
way up. I was just over it. It's not that crazy. It was just I just had a bunch of gnarly tweets under that name, so I was just putting that era to rest.
You're smart.
Hoping to undo the image that he had created for himself, the post-Cherry Bomb period of Tyler's career has been all about letting his talent speak for itself. People online tend to focus on what goes viral. It takes all their attention. If I'm doing stupid stuff on social media, it will be more emphasized than my talent. Then when I'll go out for a walk, I'll hear, "Hey, you are the guy who ate dog shit." I don't want to be known for that. In 2017, I decided to stop my bullshit and make sure my music would come first. And it changed everything. I'd rather have people think I'm the super talented guy who cracks a joke than the super funny guy who makes music. Within 2 years, he had gotten a #1 album, a Grammy, and steadily began getting the respect he craved. But none of that happens without a reality check from his very own hero.
Make something undeniable and make it equally as infectious. Why are you doing music? Is it just because you just want to look cool? Because that will burn out. When it becomes purpose-oriented, it can be as cool as the flashy shit, but it will be much more meaningful.
Oh, okay, no more being silly, no more music first. And at that moment, we went home. I just wanted to change everything. I just wanted to switch, and the switch happened.
With this pep talk from the nerd leader Pharrell, everything changed for Tyler. By putting the music first and sidelining the shenanigans, some of those people who hated earlier work like Goblin, Wolf, or Cherry Bomb finally had a potential to see Tyler's actual musical ability. Still, as Flower Boy dropped, Tyler still felt like he was unfairly marginalized despite the massive steps forward that he had made.
But it's a lot of things that I was doing, and people were like, what is he doing? And then 2 years later, it's what everyone's doing. I was doing that, and no one ever puts me on any of these lists or even respects me that I wanted.
Thankfully for Tyler, that era would also give him a little hit of validation he had craved when See You Again became his first song ever to get played on the radio.
When See You Again played on the radio 2 years ago, which it wasn't a bunch, it was the LA radio station, they was looking out, and they looked out and played it a couple times, but that meant so much because this shit's brand new to me. Like, niggas come out the gate, #1 album, poppin' song, private jets, it's been a steady slope for me.
This might not seem like a big deal for rappers like Gunna and Lil Baby, or some other artists who's always had a major label machine behind them, but it was everything to Tyler, who was always independent. It even reduced him to tears.
I'm so happy.
So why did this matter to him so much? Well, that's because it finally meant that he was being treated on an even keel with other artists. If his music was catchy, it had a fair chance of being heard alongside all of those other artists. This brings us back to the whole Igor ordeal with DJ Khaled. Remember when Mr. We the Best lost his mind about being the second best to Tyler? Well, here was a man who had spent years basically sticking to a set template for success, being defeated by an alternative artist in a blonde wig. It disgusted Khaled, and for Tyler, that made it all the sweeter.
It was fun. It was just watching a man die inside. The weirdo was winning. I was moonwalking in a wig. Everyone on his album, everyone. But I didn't say nothing. I just let that number one speak. And Ego had to deal with that because his whole identity is being number one. And when he didn't get that, that sat with him longer in real lifetime than that moment.
By making such a fuss about losing to Tyler, Khaled accidentally put a spotlight on Tyler's work, which was all about pushing boundaries and being different. With that, everything changed for Tyler. Suddenly, he wasn't willing to hear apologies that you didn't see his potential, because it was always in front of everyone's faces. It was his resilience that meant, over time, he couldn't be ignored any longer.
It's like, all right, cool, I'm just doing my shit. And they try to push you to the side and keep doing that. And it's like 10 years later, I'm still here, bro. My career has only been doing this.
Only been up.
It's the hottest shit. 2012, where the they at right now? Push me to the side. Oh, that weird, and I'm here right now.
14 years on from Bastard dropping, Tyler has been having the time of his life. After winning a Grammy for Best Rap Album with Igor, he repeated the feat with 2021's Call Me If You Get Lost, a DJ Drama hosted Gangsta Grillz inspired project that was made not only as a love letter to rap music, but to prove that he could spit.
It was like, oh, bro, he was never good of a rapper anyway. That's why he had to pitch his voice and sing. Oh, really? Okay, gave a whole rap project.
When that album succeeded, Tyler couldn't hide his happiness, and even allowed himself a little shot at Khaled in his Instagram acceptance speech.
And I know you're seething and angry, and no one listens to that album. These arena tours that are selling out says different. And if you put that much energy into something, maybe everyone will be proud of you too.
Almost a decade and a half on from where he started, Tyler is able to accept that his journey had ups and downs. He's even acknowledged that if his career started a little later, he wouldn't have had to fight and claw for every ounce of respect the way that he did.
If I started at Flower Boy and then this, bro, I would be a god. I didn't realize I should stop yelling on songs till I was 24.
Still, Tyler's journey to the top wasn't a quick or easy one. It was a long grind, filled with challenges and moments where it looked like the mainstream might never give him the recognition he deserved. But through all of it, Tyler stayed true to himself and his unique style. And now he's not just a big name in the game, he's actually had a hand in reviving an iconic brand in hip-hop, bringing it back into the cultural spotlight.
I saw someone say, like, of all people, who would have thought Tyler, the Creator, who people have called a weirdo for thus long, would bring Gangsta Grillz back to life. Come on, you can't deny, like, Tyler had a lot to do with it.
His journey shows that sticking to your own path, even when it's tough, can eventually lead you to incredible places. Respect isn't always given. Sometimes it's earned. And for Tyler, he had to earn every single ounce of it. Whether you've been rocking with him since Bastard, or you weren't checking him until later, no one would argue that he isn't right where he belongs right now. At just 32 years old, he's got a lot of time to keep reclaiming his legacy, to the point that those days where he was overlooked might be hard for future generations to even understand.